Every single time you open an app, you're stepping into this hidden world. It's a world built not just on code, but on language. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these tiny little word choices that make a piece of software feel totally intuitive, or, incredibly frustrating.
So you probably think you know the difference between American and Canadian English, right? It's pretty simple. A U here, an RE there. Easy. But what if I told you the really important differences are the ones you don't even notice?
Now take a look at this. Sales per customer versus sales by customer. They look almost the same, don't they? But for a developer who's trying to build a product that you actually enjoy using, this one tiny choice, it can mean the difference between a tool that feels natural and one that just feels a little bit off.
Okay, so let's really dive into this. We're going to start with something we all know, spelling, just to see how deep these differences go. And then we'll uncover some of the more subtle rules that are secretly guiding your entire digital experience. Right, so you've got the classic example, the our versus the or rule. While the US went and simplified its language, Canada held on to a lot of its British roots. So in your software settings, you'd see color, and if you're in a payroll module, you'd be classifying labor costs.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This also applies to words that came from French. Americans flipped them to ER, but Canadians kept the RE. And look, this isn't just about looks. Calling a feature cost centers instead of cost centers can completely change the professional feel of an accounting tool.
And believe it or not, it goes even deeper. Even the rules for adding a suffix are different. In Canada, it's totally normal to double the L. So an invoice is canceled, not canceled. It seems like a tiny detail, right? But when that word is a critical status for a document in your system, getting it right is absolutely everything. So here's the main point. If spelling is already this complicated, what on earth happens when we look at those tiny little words that actually control the software? The prepositions. Which one of these feels more natural to you when you're trying to filter a report?
And this quote just nails it. It perfectly illustrates the heart of the issue. For a lot of users, especially somewhere like Quebec, the word per makes them think of price per unit. It's a rate. But by tells your brain that the software is about to organize something for you. See, it's not about being grammatically correct, it's all about human intuition.
This is what designers call a grouping function. When you see something like sort by date, you don't even have to think about it. You just instinctively know the software is putting data into neat little piles for you. The word by has become the modern standard for user experience for that exact reason. It just clicks with how our brains expect a database to work.
Okay, so let's build on that. Let's talk about readability. Because getting localization right goes way beyond just picking the right words. It gets into the very shape of the words themselves, how they actually look on your screen.
All right, quick test. Which one of these is easier to read? Yeah, if you pick the one on the right, you're not alone. That all-caps style, it's kind of a fossil from old, clunky systems, and modern software has pretty much left it behind. But the reason why is way more complex than you think. You see, this isn't just a style preference. There are actual studies showing that our brains can process sentence case measurably faster. And for someone doing, say, high-volume data entry, that little speed boost directly translates into fewer mistakes. It's a huge deal.
But hold on, because this choice between all caps and sentence case, it's not random. In really well-designed financial software, it's actually a critical piece of a very sophisticated system, one that's built to give you information at a single glance.
Okay, here's the secret. The main, high-level parent accounts are always in all caps. They're basically the big, bold chapter titles. Then, the detailed, nitty-gritty child accounts that are nested underneath are in sentence case. This creates an immediate visual hierarchy. You always know exactly where you are.
And this visual structure, it's not just some clever design trick. It's the literal blueprint of the software's financial core. The best way to think of it is like the labels on a perfectly organized digital filing cabinet.
And this structure has massive real-world consequences. First off, it makes financial reports instantly scannable. It also produces clean, professional statements that auditors absolutely love. It helps ensure tax filings are accurate. And, maybe most importantly, it can physically stop a user from posting a transaction to the wrong account, which prevents some really critical accounting errors. So, after all of that, why does any of this actually matter? Why would anyone obsess over a single letter, one preposition, or whether a word is capitalized? It matters, because when software gets these little details right,
When it speaks our specific dialect, respects our professional norms, and organizes information in a way that just feels right, it stops feeling like some foreign object we have to fight with. It builds trust. It makes the technology feel like it was designed by humans, for humans.
At the end of the day, it just proves that the most powerful design isn't always what you see. It's the invisible rules working tirelessly behind the scenes. So, the next time you use your favorite app, take a closer look. What hidden rules are quietly shaping your experience?